Sceptres lose a very, very critical game to the Ottawa Charge, 2-0 at home. And I think this video is going to be short because I don't really know what else they could have done. I really don't. This was a must-win game for both teams. I think Ottawa especially had a bit of a chip on their shoulder after how their last game ended against Seattle. But Toronto played great. The final shots were 42-19, or approximately that. I believe it was 42-19. And they didn't get one goal. You can't get one by Phillips on 42 shots. And you let one get by Kirk on shot 16 or something into the third period. Now, no game is perfect. And I think Toronto, while their offense was really good, the pressure was really good. Honestly, their defensive zone was also solid. They were breaking up a lot of passes. They were getting in a lot of lanes, weren't really letting Ottawa do much. They had a good chunk of sloppy passes, especially this game. A lot of passes to no one. A lot of no-look passes, just throwing the puck to an area and hoping someone on Toronto was there. There's a lot of that, it felt like anyway. The other thing is Toronto, even though they had 42 shots, it felt like Ottawa was blocking a lot of them. Ottawa was getting in the way of a lot of Toronto's opportunities. So I'm curious to know how many shot attempts they had, because they were really running Ottawa's show for basically the entire game. The reffing in this one was bad. I think there's not really any two ways about it. For both teams as well, I think Charge fans would agree with me. The reffing in this game was atrocious. Especially in the third period where Jocelyn the Rock body slammed Renata Fast with a ref looking directly at both of them and no penalty was called. I think Toronto's too many players on the ice penalty in the second was questionable. I think Turnbull's interference call on their one power play to even it up at 4-4 was questionable. But it was just a mess of a game from the officiating perspective. I want to point out one big sin the Sceptres committed was not getting bodies in front of Gwyneth Phillips. This is something that Toronto has constantly not done all season, all bloody season, is they don't put a player out front of the net. They don't get in the goalie's eyes, and they don't have someone there to clean up the rebounds. And the thing is, a lot of hockey goals are those greasy ones. Those ones that you just whack in off a rebound. That's a lot of them. But it felt especially prominent this game because Phillips could not hang on to a puck. Phillips, she played great. She made 42 saves. It was incredible. When Toronto wasn't getting in front of her eyes, it was easy for her to see all those pucks coming at her. They weren't difficult saves for her to make. Toronto had a lot of really good chances. They had a lot of rushes and 2-on-1s. They had a missed open net on a power play. They had their opportunities. They had some good shots that either they flubbed themselves or Phillips was able to make a save on. But most of their shots this game, most of their opportunities were really easy saves by Phillips. But I noticed, halfway through the first, she could not hang on to a rebound. Even if it hit her square in the chest, it fell down in front of her. Even if it hit her blocker, it fell down to her side. If it hit her pad, it dribbled out close to her. She could not hang on to a rebound. She always had to jump on it after the fact or it got cleared away by her defense. So all Toronto needed to do was park someone out front. That's it. That is all they had to do. Get one person in front of her eyes, make those saves a bit harder for her to make in the first place. Maybe you get one in clean, maybe you get a tip. But then if she does make those saves, as she had been, and she drops the rebounds like she had been, you have someone there to chop in the garbage. That's all they had to do. They had all the pressure this game. They had all the zone time. The amount of power plays that were handed out in either direction didn't really mean much because no team scored on any of them. None of them. They were completely inconsequential. It was all 5-on-5 stuff. All Toronto had to do was get in front of Phillips and punish her for dropping all those shots, for dropping all those saves. And they didn't. And they paid for it. That's like the one thing. Other than that, this game was great. The game was played really well. Their offense looked good. Their defense looked good. They could stand to tighten up some of their passing, but we've been saying that all year. And no game is going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. It was so unfortunate, because to me it felt obvious. And I don't know why Toronto doesn't have someone net front on their offense. But it's been like that all year. And maybe this game will finally be a wake-up for them to reconfigure some stuff. I bloody hope so. There's not that many games left. I think Toronto has 4. New York, Minnesota, New York, Ottawa on the last game of the season. That's a lot of playoff implications. New York lost their game today, so that's something in Toronto's favor. But the biggest thing, the biggest story from everyone, from the league, from all the media this year, is Toronto, Ottawa, and New York all control their own destinies. They're all playing each other. And here's the thing, Toronto has a game in hand on Ottawa. Toronto should be able to pull this out. Toronto should be able to take the games they need to take and get into the playoffs. There's not really a reason they can't, especially if they're going to play like how they did today. If they're going to apply the pressure they did today, if they're going to have the control they had today, all they got to do is put someone in front of the bloody goalie. That's it. That's not a big ask, I don't think. That's standard practice for every hockey team ever. And it's frankly unusual that Toronto doesn't do it. They control their own destiny. If they lose the games coming up, if they don't make the playoffs, the only people they'll have to blame is themselves. It is that simple. For right now, and for the games approaching, it's all in Toronto's own hands. Yes, they're out of a playoff spot right now because Ottawa won this game in regulation, but they have a game in hand. They can make that up. They played really well, but one consistent oversight in their offensive coordination, in my opinion, cost them this one. That's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more. It's in their own hands.